and then 30 rolls by and I forget.
Oh man. Is the weather nice there? Is that why I mean, I guess it's spring. Everything's blooming everywhere, right?
I mean, it's not nice right now, but last week it was like 80s all week. It was
Oh
pretty nice, but it snowed today, so you gotta love Ohio and
wow. Kind of erratic, yeah. I mean, even out here, although the sun is out, it's been really cold a lot of the time.
yeah. But
Weird
yeah, our
year.
season started, so I am in full effect.
Awesome. And I forget, are you going to St. Louis this week?
I am. I just bought my ticket last week. Yeah.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, I was like kind of iffy, but then I saw Goggins was going. I was like, I'm not fucking missing Goggins.
Dude,
There's no
you
way.
cannot. He is so good. And I have a feeling it's going to end up being all three of them on stage to do like a Q&A at some point or something like that. It's going to be fucking amazing.
Dude, Goggins, I fucking love that dude. And I read his Can't Hurt Me book, and that changed a lot of my perspective on things too. So
I love
yeah,
that.
he's hard, man.
He is. Have you read his new book?
Nah, no, I haven't read never finished, but it's on the to-do list.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's hard to beat Can't Hurt Me, like because now we know his story and whatnot, but it's still really good and really inspiring. I mean, that guy's just a badass.
He's not even human. I don't think I think, he's just an alien because there's no way like someone could do the shit he does, but he
Yeah.
does it.
I know. I'm like, I'm hard, but I'm kind
I'm
of
not David
also,
Goggins.
yeah, I don't really want to run on broken feet and, piss like blood, red, black, whatever. And
Yeah,
yeah,
shit your pants running 100 miles and
yeah,
yeah, that's a
yeah,
different kind of animal right there.
it really is. It
But you
really
got to
is.
learn from the best. So I
Yeah.
would say he's one of the best.
Oh, good. Well, then, yeah, we should, yeah, we'll have to get your number. We'll text so we can see each other because there's going to be so many of us. Like last
Mhm.
time, the last live, there were so many of us. I didn't even see everybody I knew. So we'll have to make sure that we see each other so I can give you a big old hug while we're there.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So, as you know, of course, I wanted to do a second episode with you because our last episode, we talked extensively about our entrepreneur journey, which obviously we could talk about for forever because we're very like minded. And I just love hearing your perspective on that. But I realized we didn't do the backstory of what makes you so amazing. And so that's why I wanted to do, and I'm calling it a prequel, so that we could talk about that because again, there's a lot of different entrepreneurs who've maybe inherited their businesses from their family, or they did things the quote unquote right way and did to college, went to college, got their degrees and, learned how to do stuff. But for you kind of like me have gone against all odds and still ended up where you are, except you're only 20, which is just phenomenally amazing is what I was going to say.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your kind words.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's talk about that.
yeah, where would you like to start?
Well, where does it start for you? Like, what is your earliest memories?
Oh, um, so I wasn't one of those kids like I had a lemonade stand or I did this or that. But I kind of grew up, I had to lead. So I am the oldest of five boys, single mom. So I knew I was like my mom's best friend. So any problem there was, I was handling it. Any struggle there was, I was, that side man, that side bone, or backbone to my mom. So
Mm.
I kind of always had that, like, I have to make sure I can provide and take care of my brothers, and show them what's right from wrong. And
What is
then,
the age? Well, hold on, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
go
what
ahead.
is the age separation between you and all of them? I mean, the oldest of five.
So there is a 6-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, and then my other brother, he is 19, and then
Oh
I'm 20.
wow.
So yeah, the biggest gap is like 15 years, 14, 15 years. So yeah, I pretty much like raised him myself. So I consider him like more of like a son, but he's
Oh.
my little brother. But yeah, so I mean, as far as entrepreneurship, it kind of started when I was 14, 15. Is actually when I found out about Andy. My brother, not my brother, but my brother, my best friend, he had his dad, and his dad was a real estate agent, and he still is. And he always instilled discipline and hard work and consistency into his son, my best friend. And, you know, me and Dante, that's the friend, we would always chop it up. We're talking about business and how we could win. And his dad was like, hey, I'm going to this event in Phoenix, Arizona. I want you to come. And it was like my senior year of high school. So I might have been maybe older than 15. I can't remember. But I was like, look, I don't have the money. It was like, it was gonna be like 700, $800. I was trying to buy the school clothes, be all freshy fresh, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't go. And he was like, look, I'll pay for it for you and you can go. And he was like, because I want you to learn like what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And he was like, and I know you'll pay me back someday. So he took me to that event, and that's when I got exposed to real estate investing. Andy was at the event. I
Mhm.
got exposed to him and all these great leaders. I saw the Lambos and the McLarens, and I was like, wow, I was like, this is life. Like, there's so much more outside of this little bubble that I grew up in that I know I'm destined for more. So it kind of started there. And then, you know, I was in high school, I graduated, COVID hit. So, like, that just put a tamper in everything. I was going to college for computer engineering. Um, and then I met my now fiance, and I think we talked about that on the last episode, but you get that little spark in your fire, like your ass, like you got to go get it. Um, so I was going to drop out of college and save up money to build a business. I didn't know what, but I knew I could do it. And then I met my business partner, and he gave me that opportunity, and here we are 2 years later.
Love that. So you didn't have necessarily a strong positive male role model in your life. You just assumed the
Ever.
role.
Yeah, pretty much. I've
So
learned.
what did you model that after? Like someone you saw, just what you thought was right? Like where did you come up with it?
So my mom is very hardworking, as you would have to be for a single mother of five, you
Yeah.
know. So I really picked up a lot of her habits of hard work, and
Mhm.
she showed me a lot of love. She showed all of us a lot of love. Even though we struggled and it was hard sometimes, she still made sure we had a childhood, and we had the Christmases and the Easter baskets and anything you could think of that like a good mom would do who is trying to make it for their kids. But I also saw all of the lessons that had to be learned from her struggle. So I think that's where I like to you know, just talk about the perspective thing, because I've seen the perspective of a woman I love struggle consistently just to provide for her children. So any lesson that could be learned through that, that's I learned it. I also learned it from the relationship she had, and how the men treated her, and how I would never be like those men because I was my mom's best friend. So she would come to me,
Mhm.
and, you know, I would see when she was upset when thought wasn't put into a gift, or, you know, there was never random flowers or let's go out on a date. Never. It was nothing like that. So I really saw what that did to her. And I was like, I will never be like that. I would never be the men that she, you know, always gets to attract, or, you know, or settles for, because she just gives all her love to her kids and tries to focus on her kids, and she ends up forgetting that she has to focus on herself as well. So, you know, that's part of it. Is learning from things I wanted to be like from not seeing it.
I love that. Did you grow up in low income housing? Was that like the norm for you?
I mean, welfare, yeah. You know, I mean, where I come from isn't like that expensive to live anyways, but it was, yeah, it wasn't like we've never been middle class or, you know, suburbs, nice houses, nice cars, none of that. Now that's why I said Goggins gave me real perspective, because even what I thought was hard really wasn't hard, you know, when you look at other people's situations. But, you know, it's all relative to the person. But I didn't grow up all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, no, I get that. I same. I grew up like low income housing, and for me, and I think and you got to make sure you don't make this mistake. As I way overcompensated with my children because I thought about growing up and all the things I felt like I was missing out on due to finances, and so for me, I gave my kids all those things I didn't have. But I think there's got to be a good balance of providing, but also having them earn it as well, so they're not, so they're better prepared for life where everything's not just going to be handed to them. And I think that's like a big thing that happens for those of us that grew up without, where we turn it around and make it the other way for our kids.
That's so right in so many ways. I always talk about it with my fiance, and I'm like, my kids will never want for anything, but they will not be spoiled. They will be hardworking kids, you know? And I think it's so important, but it also makes it that much better when you come from the struggle and you start earning things. You're like, I can do this. Like, it starts empowering yourself and you build that momentum. And it's so great. I love the feeling of knowing where I came from and everyone that I left behind in my life. And here I am, and I'm only 2, 3 years into the journey. You know, I still got 40, 50 more years of this. So like, if I can make all of these changes in such a short amount of time, imagine what I could do in 50 years. So that's, I mean, that's it right there. You know, you got to earn everything in your life. No one's going to come by and save you and hand you something. They'll give you opportunities, but it's up to you to take those opportunities. And that's what I did.
Yeah, and well, and a lot of times you got to create them. People aren't just handing them out. Those that actually have that ability to give opportunities usually do it because they see you're earning it.
Right. That is very true. That's what my partner has told me numerous times. He was like, some people just need one chance, and when they have that one chance, they'll fucking dominate, you know, and that's it. Others, you know, you can always see right through people. I'm sure even with your perspective, your wisdom over how long you've been alive, you see right through people's BS and what their intentions really are. So it's so important to actually be about what you talk about because people can see it. So if you're talking a good game, like, yeah, I'm a hard worker, I'll bust my ass to make sure this business succeeds, and then it's time to go put the work in, and you don't do anything, you know, you
Yeah.
end up.
You end up broke, and then also you're not a good leader because you have people below you going, okay, you're telling me this. It's like the parent, you're telling me this and this, but you're not practicing what you're preaching, so why do I want to follow you? Like, it's so much about walking the walk, which I think you're really good at.
I try to be. It's gotten really hard with employees. So I brought on 2 new guys.
Mm.
And they're also my best friends too. So that's even harder. But you get these 3 young guys and they're all looking at me. I cannot mess up. I can't make mistakes or not show up for work or not beat them to the shop. Like whatever it is, whatever expectation I hold, I have to deliver that nonstop every day. And you have to live. I love what CW said when we were at the Evolve event. He said, leadership isn't when it's convenient. It's always. You always have to be that leader. It's not 9 to 5 when you guys are working. It's every day in your life. You have to practice those small things that you expect of others. So that way it just becomes normal to you. That's just how you live. And you're not training to not mess up. You know, you're just doing it right because you can't get it wrong.
Mm. Such great words of advice. So then how do you handle, and again, you're just so young, but I'm sure you've already experienced so much of this. How do you handle toxic, like, you grow up with people, they're your friends, but then you start to realize maybe you have different paths or different purposes, or maybe they don't believe the way you believe. Do you try to bring them along, or do you just sort of cut ties and say, we'll meet some other part of our lives, not right now? How do you
That is
navigate
such a
that?
that is such a great question. Only because I really did leave behind a lot of people starting this journey
Mm.
because I love the perspective aspect of it, and I love the humility to just constantly be learning. Like I don't know everything, but I do know what I know. So if you try to challenge me, I know, like, you know, if you're talking about success or discipline, I've done 75 hard. I've practiced it in my daily life. Like I know it works. So if you try to challenge me and say, oh, well, you're wrong, or you're being fake, or you're doing this, I know you're wrong. And, you know, you have some sort of insecurity or something like that. But I used to be that guy. Like in high school, I had all the friends, you know, and I really did love everybody. I do love almost everybody. I think some people are just pure evil, but I do love almost everyone, and I try not to judge anybody for who they are. And that got me just an emotional wreck. When you constantly invest your energy into other people and your love into other people before you invest it in yourself, you end up just constantly fixing that victim mindset for people. And it's so important. Like everything Ed and Andy talk about in Arte, You have all these people nowadays, they just get on Facebook and all they can do is just type, type, type. And then you got 20 comments of people saying, oh, it's okay. You'll be okay. I'm praying for you, this and that. And they do that 5 days a week. You can't do that. You're just supporting that habit of being a victim when everyone can be released from that. Everyone, because it used to be me, you know? Not that I made a whole bunch of excuses, but I did have a victim mindset as, oh, poor me, you know? And no one really cares. To be honest, no one really cares. Everyone on Facebook saying, oh, it's okay. We love you. They're texting that and they're going right back to scrolling. They're not praying for you. They don't care about you. They're not going to come take care of your kids or pay your bills. They don't care. They're just showing you that fake love, really. So I feel I've really grown in that aspect because I've learned that my worth and my time and my energy needs to be in 2 or 3 places, and that's it. It needs to be with my future wife, my family, and my business. That's about it. If you're outside of that and you're just a friend and you're trying to smoke and drink every weekend, I'm not going to be your friend. We could be acquaintances, but I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not investing time and energy into you. But I do believe in giving people the opportunity. So I've gave my 3 friends that I now work with the opportunity to join me on this mission, join me in the business. And whether or not they run with it full speed, like I did with my opportunity, is completely up to them. But at least I know I tried. So I feel like if you tried and you gave them everything that you didn't have, and they fail, then that's not on you. That's them. And you can't change everyone because you have to want it for yourself.
Do you find like it's harder at your age? I mean, I can only imagine. I think every age has its challenges. You know, you get to my age and then these people are like old dog, new trick. But at your age, I mean, that's just like kids are in college or they're at that age and they're partying. You're almost 21, going to bars. Like, is it hard to get them with that same work ethic mindset that you have?
Oh, 100%. I don't think I've met anyone my age outside of Arte who will work as hard as me or has a vision as strong as me and works towards that. I don't find it hard not to be around people. I'm a natural loner. I will sit in a room by myself. It'll be dark just like it is right now, and I will be the happiest man. I don't need people. I don't need that constant attention from people, I guess you could say, or the validation. I really could care less, because that's not what's important to me. My peace is important to me, and I've learned that through all of the toxic relationships I've been through. So I'd rather sit in a room by myself, quiet, no distractions, no interruptions, and I'm happy. So it's naturally easy for me to be alone. It's not easy to find other people to connect with because like I said, you don't find people with the same core values or visions as you. So what's the point in wasting that time and energy into someone like that when I can hop on a podcast with you and talk to you, or we can sit by the fire and talk for 2 hours about real life shit, not just sitting smoking and drinking and saying, yeah, I really hate business right now, or I hate life. Like that's not cool to me, is what it is. It's not fulfilling. It's not what I want with my life.
Well, and especially if you're a product of your 5 closest relationships, you've got to be extremely choosy about who you're going to have in theirs, and what better person to have one of those people as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're someone like you, like why not? So then you got your fiance and your 2 friends and probably your brothers and your mom, but beyond that, not that you don't need people, but if we're a product of that, keep that circle close.
Yeah, that 100%. And even my best friends now, when I was on the 75 hard journey, I was going on to the second phase, or the second time of doing 75 hard. And I had this one friend, and we have a little group chat. There's only 4 of us in it, but that's a small circle.
Yeah.
And I was telling him for a year, 75 hard, 75 hard, you need to do this, practice the discipline. And I told him plainly, I was like, where I'm going to be in 5 years is so much farther than where I'm at now. And if you're not bettering yourself, I'm going to start hanging around people who are. And I put it simply, I was like, it's nothing personal. I love you as a person, like you're my brother, but I care about me and my family and their success. And if you don't want to be a part of that success, that's okay. Just tell me now, and we'll go our separate ways. I'll still respect you. We could still be friends, but it's not going to be I'm going to give you advice and coach you and try to pull you along, because that's what I was doing. I would say, hey, look, let's do this. I gave them an opportunity. I don't know if you know, but I have the youngsters group chat in Arte, and it's a whole bunch of younger guys.
I did not know, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it just because we're all on the same page and we're all young. So,
How
but
many of
I
them,
gave
how
them
many are you in there?
30, 35, something like
What?
that. I mean, it's still relatively small, but it's
That's
always
huge to have 30 like-minded people at your age. That's
yeah.
amazing.
But that's what I'm saying. But I gave them an opportunity to be in the group. So if I meet a kid in business, I say kid, I'm 20, but if I meet a younger person in
Yeah.
business, I'm like, hey, even if you're not in Arte, I'll add you into the group because I want you surrounded by winners. The people in Arte, they don't care if you're in Arte, they want you to win no matter what. So I gave them that opportunity, and they're not on the bi-weekly calls. They're not engaging in the group. And those opportunities given to connect with people who are running 7-figure businesses. I don't think there's anyone running an 8-figure business, but 6, 7-figure businesses. You get to learn from those people and create actual relationships with people who care about you and you care about them. And it's those opportunities given that don't get taken advantage of. So it's only so much of that before you have to give up, because there's other people you can help who will run with the opportunities, and seeing them change their life would be more fulfilling than wasting your time with someone who could care less. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think everyone has their peace, their inner peace, and if you want to stay mediocre your whole life, that's okay, despite what I think, because I mean, who am I to judge? I'm not Jesus, so when the day comes, I'm not going to be in heaven like, yeah, you're not going because you didn't do 75 hard.
Yeah.
It's
You didn't
that's
hustle enough. You're out.
yeah, that's not my call. So I won't judge you for that, but don't expect me to carry you as well, because that's not happening.
Right. Well, and there is people like that where they just can't muster enough strength to do it, and they depend on people like you to carry them along.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And you can't
I
have a
love
good
that you
heart.
do that.
Yeah. Well, you can have a good heart, but you get taken advantage of a lot. So you got to be really mindful of who gets your time and attention, because some people will just, you give an inch and they take a mile, and that's life. So you'll get taken advantage of a lot and it'll ruin you. But the important thing to remember is you were just bad at realizing that relationship was a bad investment of your time and energy. So if you invest in the good people, it will be rewarding. A lot of people,
Mm.
like, you get in one bad relationship, you get cheated on 10 times, and then, oh, now all guys suck, or all girls suck. That's
Yeah.
not the case. You just chose a bad partner. There are other girls out there, other men out there who will treat you the worth that you want, but you need to work on yourself and better yourself and pick that better person the next time around. So I think it's important to have a good heart. I just think it's not important to repeat the same mistakes of trusting in people who have bad intentions.
Yeah. Well, and I think the more you do it, the quicker you get at identifying and cutting losses, as opposed to like holding out hope, holding out hope, holding out hope. And then it's like, dude, I should have, like 6 months ago, a year ago, years ago. So I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you just cut it, man. You don't mess around.
No, you can't. Time is money, and it's you can't buy it back. I don't believe in wasting it,
Yeah.
and I do waste it. But I'm trying to perfect the craft of choosing where my energy goes, and for that reason, if you're not bringing me peace or happiness or money or whatever it is that I want in my life, respectfully, I don't want to be around you, because you're just probably going to be a headache down the road. So I'd rather not.
Yeah. Would you say that you are money motivated? Is that the thing that really drives you? Is that the thing that
So
gets you going?
I was just talking to my partner about this, because he's money motivated, but I told him I'm impact motivated. Like, I want to change people, but to change lives, you need money. So it's like, I guess I didn't realize that I need to make a lot of money. Well, I knew it, but like, that's not my motivation. My motivation is what I could do for people when I have the money. So no, I'm more impact motivated. I don't know. I believe we talked about it, but the
Mhm.
whole community rec center things in inner
Yeah.
cities and helping kids, like, that's the dream. And to be able to afford that and have locations across the nation, it's gonna be expensive. So you got to make a lot of money. So yeah, I'm more impacted by people and helping and fulfillment than I am by money, because money comes and goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just energy at the end of the day, and it goes right through us. But I'm in agreement with you. I think money can help, but it's not the be all end all for myself either.
Yeah, it's a tool. That's all it's for. Whether you're, doing A, B, or C, like if it's something bad or if it's something good, it's just a tool. You get to pick, where it goes and how it helps. So I believe if you do that with, altruistic needs or intention, then it'll be returned to you.
Mm. What is your dream car?
Ooh, a Ferrari SF90.
Oh,
Those are beautiful specimens of cars. I cannot wait. I visualized it driving it on my wedding day, which is only like 2 years away. And
yeah.
I was like, that might not be that realistic because they're like $700,000. And I was
Don't
like,
you dare put that limiting belief on yourself.
hey, I was like,
Even if you just rent it for the weekend, like you can have that.
I guess, ooh, I didn't think about that. See, this
Heck
is, you got
yeah.
to have the conversations out loud because it's that perspective. Like, I'll just rent the car. But I was like, 700,000, that's like 300,000 down. And to do that, I would want at least like 3 to 5 million in my account. So I'm like, so I got to do A, B, and C to afford that in 2 years. So I changed that to I want a 68 Chevy SS. So
Nice.
that's my other dream car.
Do you
So I'll
like
probably get
working?
that before the Ferrari.
Ah, do you like working on cars? Is that like a passion for you, like old
I
cars?
do not, but I am fascinated. I'm fascinated by a lot of things that work, like guns as well. Like anything that has just mechanical engineering or something like that. It's
Mm.
just impressive to me that people come up with these inventions and how they work and how you produce torque and speed. And it's just, I think it's more amazing and it just flabbergasts me. I'm like, holy shit, like that's so cool. Like, but I'm not like totally into like, I could change this and this and that. Like I could work on brakes, I could change the rotors, but like I'm not diving into engine and taking it apart. I'm not like that, and that's not my specialty, but it is super cool. I do appreciate people like that.
Now you were going to school. Was it for mechanical engineering? No,
It was for computer engineering.
computer engineering. Okay,
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah, I mean, but it's all like computers is just how it works. And I really only chose that because, well, A, I'm fascinated by computers. I just love technology or different things about how
Mm.
things work. And I love diving into that. And computer engineering is just the future. Everything's going technology nowadays. So I was like, my job security would be forever. Like it's gonna be there. So I didn't have to worry about that. But I believe any engineering, you're gonna have a job forever because you need engineers. So
But what about AI? Do you feel like that is taking over? Because I feel like it's starting to replace some stuff for sure.
I love Hormozy had a podcast on this a while ago, and I listened to it like 3 separate times because it was so good. But I really believe this is what I don't like about it is it takes away the intellectual like connection we have with each other. So the ones that can create pictures or videos or this and that, like you really take away what humans are because we're just more than just these, meant to go work 9 to 5 beings. Like we're intellectual, we can have deep conversations and we have emotions. And I feel like when you start giving that to AI that isn't real, it's not really there. You don't feel a connection. And I believe it's just one more tool that will cause people to be disconnected from reality. And I do believe we crave people's attention or at least other people in our life, and I think that's what makes it fulfilling. So I feel like the more we push technology taking over this job or taking over this emotion, whatever it is, I feel like it's gonna come back and bite us in the rear end, just as technology and social media has. Like, and now look at it. Like I go and shake people's hands and they try to dap you up or give you a fist bump. Like shake my hand like a man. And I mean, I'm still young, but I understand that concept, but it's fading away. Kids nowadays don't know how to shake a hand or yes, sir, no, ma'am. They don't do that. And that's because of social media. So I think the more AI gets pushed, it'll be detrimental to that connection we have together.
Well, I also feel like what was also detrimental is the pandemic, which, enforced the 6 feet away and masks and things like that. I think that also really forced this separation that I think a lot of people are struggling with how to sort of integrate or what that even looks like.
It's social distancing at full effect is you get desensitized to other people so fast, and you actually get scared from being around other people because you don't want sick and you don't want to kill this person or that person if you get COVID. So I think it really scared a lot of people back into their bubble, their introverted bubble, and now you're trying to get that person back out. But when you force someone to sit inside for 2 years and not have fun and not travel and not go to whatever it is, it's going to change them. Like they had to live by that, or they were breaking a law, or they had to pay this fine, or they got called this and that on the internet. It's just, so I think it scared a lot of people into becoming less connected with people.
Yeah. So couple that with the AI, with everything else, and it's just creating this like separation and distance, which, I feel like that sort of breeds crime, because then people are just like faces. They're not people. People don't, they just don't respect one another as individuals anymore. It becomes like this very disconnected, weird place in society that I think we're kind of like half in and half out of right now.
Yeah, you just like don't have a soul. You don't have a purpose. And I think that's what drives all of us, is something purposeful. And when you're depressed or you're sad or you have anxiety, that comes from you not living your purpose, doing what you want to do with your life. Because I've been there, I didn't have a purpose. And when I found my purpose, I realized there's a lot more to live for than to die for. So once you have that perspective, you'll never go back. At least I don't believe I will. Maybe some do, but I it's pretty sad. I think a lot of people should just turn off the phones and turn off TikTok and turn off Netflix. But
Turn off the news, turn off all the stuff that's
but
happening
it's all
in
noise.
places that have nothing to do with us. Yeah.
It's all noise. And like, I so much hate is spread through social media and the news, and movies try to include these couples and this couple. Like it's become so far like to the left or the right, whatever you want to call it, that it's just, I think it's just more destroying. Like it's just targeting people not to want to connect to people. It's just arising more divide within one another. And I think sooner rather than later, a lot of people are gonna, just completely disconnect from others and just go on about their life and not care. And when people don't care about others, you end up with shootings and, bad things and crime, like you said. And that's where it's going. At least I think so, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I love how you found your purpose. Like I can't tell you, even at my age, when I come across people who still don't know what their purpose is, or they had their kids and now they're trying to figure out what their purpose is. And for me, I feel like I fell into it backwards, kind of like you, where I knew what my purpose was very young, and I've been fortunate enough to live my whole life this way. So kudos to you for like figuring that out so young so that you can actually dictate your life according to your purpose.
Well, maybe you could speak on that too, is you have to go through a lot of pain to find that too. Like when I found that, I was with my second ex-girlfriend at the time, and it was that I was pulling all of my love and energy into one person, and they abuse you, and they just run you right down because you're the good guy. And I became severely depressed, like suicidal thoughts. Like I wrote my suicide notes to all my closest people.
Oh,
Um,
man.
and it got real. I was just super depressed, and I stopped. I talked to like no one. I like went to school. I did my work. I just didn't care. I just didn't care to live. My mom was like, you got to go see a therapist. And I was like, nah, screw that. I'm okay. Like, and you just push it off. And it just finally hit a point. It was actually on my birthday. I must have been my 17th, 18th birthday, whatever. And my ex-girlfriend was like throwing a hissy fit because I wanted to hang out with my friends, and I broke up with her, and I was so relieved. But after that point, it wasn't, let me go screw 10 women to get over my emotions. Let me go, do drugs and party and smoke. That wasn't me. I really wanted to focus on myself. And I did a lot of things wrong in my relationships too, to where you got to work, you got to self-improve, you got to hold yourself accountable. And through that, I went on, 6, 7 months of just pure working on myself, believing in myself, having confidence. And you find that there's a lot more to live for. Like I would have left all of my brothers who, this was 4 or 5 years ago, like they're babies, they need that guidance and help. And especially through COVID, they've become less connected with everyone around them. And that push, COVID was a whole entire different, animal. But I would have left them to just fight in this world by themselves. And that's how I felt when I was depressed and I was suicidal, it was just me. And it's not. There's other people who struggle too. And I feel like it's important to, go through your struggles, tell others about them, but tell them the solutions too. And I'll tell you the solution is doing something like 75 hard, or doing something that makes you happy, like gives you a reason to live. And if you do that, I think you'll be okay. I think a lot of people just don't focus on something like that because there's a billion things to live for, and almost none that you should be dying for. So it's important.
Yeah, I love that. Did you finish 75 hard recently? You were on phase one.
I was on phase one and then I failed it.
Oh,
Um, I failed it 3 separate times. And I don't know if it's
oh.
so I hear different things from different people, but I'm not sure if you're supposed to do 8 powerless critical tasks or you're supposed to just add 3 powerless critical tasks.
That's
So
what I've heard. I think it's you keep with your 5 and then you just add 3.
right. And so, but are the 5 the ones on the program already?
Yes.
See, so I was doing 8 additional powerless tasks to my 75 hard regimen as well. So all my 75 hard, I did that. And then I did 8 other things in the powerless book itself. And that was so hard to do every day because I do things with intention. So you do it with, if it's not bettering my life spiritually or in business or personally, I wasn't doing it. I wasn't putting go to the grocery store, like that's not part of my power list. My power list is make 10 points of contact or pray, whatever it is. So yeah, so I was doing 8 of that and I did it for 14 days. I failed at the Evolve event. No, I did it for 7 days. I did it for 7 days. And then someone was like, no, you have to do 8 additional powerless tasks. And I was like, what? I was like, no, it should only be 3. But I was like, all right, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I started with 8, did that for 14 days, failed. And then I think I did another 6 days. So I would have completed it had I just known it was just 3 additional. But
Of
yeah,
course, I'm just going off of what I've heard. I feel like I've read it somewhere. I feel like I heard Andy say it, but I'm pretty sure.
I will tell you the minute in the podcast that he said you just add 3 to your 75 hard regimen and you're okay. But then I called First Form and they said it's 8 additional. And then I talked to people in First Form, the advisors and whatnot. I even I DM'd Will Grumke, I think that's how you say his last name.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, dude, like what is this? And he was like, oh well, it's 3 additional. So you just get things from different people. And honestly, I don't know, but
I'm pretty sure it's just 3 in addition because, at the end of the day, we're all still working, we're living, we're already doing the 5. So I think that's it. So
yeah,
are you
but
gonna restart? Are you
I
gonna
want
restart
to.
it?
It's so like I told you, I like the 16-hour work days. It is so hard finding a balance in between like doing everything. So I'm trying to get out of the field more to focus on the business. So hopefully, I think within the next like couple weeks, I should have more time to invest in my personal health because it is it's hard. I struggle when I get busy because it's just so much going on because it's 16 hours in the field. You come home, you got 2 hours of paperwork and estimates to do and catch up on and text messages to send. And then it's go to sleep for 5 hours, wake up and do it again. And that's every day. So it's like
on top of working
so
out and taking care of yourself and being with your
right.
loved ones.
So add in all of that and it's
Oh,
like you wouldn't sleep,
yeah.
So I gotta find that balance and make sure I get my schedule under control. But
Yeah, I feel the same. For me, it's been the travel. Like it's just so difficult for me to be traveling and going across time zones, and then still finding a way to work out, but stay on this, but get down the water, even though I'm like losing hours in the day. Like I looked at all my trips and I was like, I can do it, but it's also not enjoyable and it's really stressful. So is that greatest good for me right now? What am I trying to prove to myself? Like I don't have to prove anything anymore. And so, I had to look at my overall health and say, is that helping me at this moment in time? And no, I need to get
yeah.
through this travel and then I'm going to confront
Right.
it again.
And it's the hard thing to do, but like
Mm.
I feel like if you know it's hard and you can do it, but you're just choosing to give yourself peace for a little while, like you don't have to constantly live in a battle, like you don't have to make it hard for yourself. Like you should be able to enjoy your travel and then the day you come back, you can start it and everything's good. So I mean, I don't really criticize, like, you know, even when I want to take a break from something, like I know the habits. Like if I wanted to do 75 hard tomorrow and I would click it back on, everything's still there, you know, and I would give it the right intention. But that doesn't mean I'm going to do it right before I go to St. Louis and want to enjoy my weekend and maybe fatten up on some, you know, some brownies and cake at Top Golf. Like I don't know what it is, but like, you know, I still want to live a little and enjoy my little bit of life that I got. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Are you coming to the meetup on Friday night at Top Golf?
Yeah. I can't golf though. So
Same.
whoever's in my thing, you
Oh, you're
better
actually
watch
going to
out.
golf? So I didn't sign up for the golf part, but I signed up for the meetup. I'll
Um,
be there
okay. Yeah.
watching you guys,
You gotta
cheering you
just
from
watch
the
the back.
sideline.
Oh, that dude, he doesn't know what he's doing. See, but I think it's funny though, when you don't know what you're doing and you have fun with it, other people are like, yeah, he really is crazy, you know, but I'll do it with him.
Oh, dude. Oh, I'm so glad. That's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I actually still have because I started 75 hard with a bunch of my employees from work and I kind of am incentivizing them to complete. And so when I pulled off of it, I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want them to come off of it because I did. And so I kind of withheld it for a little bit. And then finally I had to tell them, but I still have 5 staff still going hard on 75 hard. They started when I launched Andy's podcast. So they're only about 2, 3 weeks out from completion, which is pretty badass. Like
That's what's up. Hell
yeah,
yeah, man. That's what I kind of want to do it just to show my guys because they're all new to the whole like blue collar, like landscaping, you know, it's not easy work. So I give them credit, but I kind of want to do it just to show them like I can do it. And then I can do all of these additional things on top of it. So I kind of want to give them that extra motivation, like, okay, it'll get easier, like, or you'll get stronger and whatnot. So that's why I kind of want to do it. One of those motivating factors. You got to be the good leader and live by those, you know, those same things you preach. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, now with summer coming, won't your days get even longer or is this the long season?
this is the long season. So it's we call it like a spring rush. And it's pretty much because you got to think you're inside all winter. You don't really care about anything because it's cold. You're not going outside, you're not checking on the landscaping. As soon as it hits like 60, 70, people start going outside. There's no snow on the ground. They're like, wow, that is an ugly tree, you know, or oh, we need some new mulch. And they start, and then oh my, it's keeping up with the Joneses. Everyone wants to like beat their neighbor. I think it's pretty funny, honestly.
Yeah.
But you know, they're like, my neighbor, they got this new mulch, so I gotta get this mulch. And hey, do you guys do that bed edging thing? And you're just like, yeah, we could do that for you. And you know, they get all excited to beat their neighbors. I think it's pretty funny. But once it gets nice out, everyone's like, oh, we could do all this work in the yard, but we don't want to pay or we don't want to do it, but we'll pay for it. So you just end up with so many calls a day, so many new customers. You get the spring growth, the grass goes crazy. You get the rain, so then you get delays almost, you know, every day, every other day. So yeah, it's kind of crazy time. Once the summer comes out, it's usually pretty dry. Everything's pretty smooth sailing after that. So
Yeah. How was your winter in Ohio? Was it crazy like everywhere else, like unprecedented times, or just sort of typical for you?
it really was a bad winter for business. Good winter as in I snowed 2 times, you know, and of those 2 times it wasn't really that bad. I think it was, you know, 4 to 6 inches each time, if that. So it wasn't a bad winter, but bad for business. You know, I kind of invested in a new truck and a new plow and all this new fancy equipment, and it didn't pay off. So but you got to take those risks.
Yeah. Well, and I think your business, and like what it's literally taken me this long to realize, even for my business, is it's cyclical. And, you've got to prepare for those winter months, so those lean times, and, really load up when business is good so that you can survive, comfortably when it's not good.
So
I guess
what
it's not that like familiar. I'm thinking of like, didn't I learn that story as a kid? Like the ant and the whatever, you gotta,
uh-huh.
yeah.
That brings me, so when we were talking about living with purpose and intent, and what motivates me is impact. This year, so we're going to do Christmas lights because it's kind of a big thing around here, and
Right.
most landscaping companies offer that service. But what we're doing with it is we're taking a percentage of what we make, and we're actually going to go adopt families. And I told the boys, like, I want you to just walk in Walmart or wherever and just pay for the car, like do things like that. I want to host a tour drive with our police department. So it's more or less like you get the money, but what can the money do? Because I really don't care about making a whole bunch of money. I really care about giving it. So I told my boys, I was like, I want to give away $30,000 to $50,000 this year.
Wow.
And in Christmas lights, there's pretty good profit margins. So you could do so, and you know, you won't go broke. I'm not trying to go broke, you know, giving back, but I do want to give back because it's important. And I've had those times when people would adopt me and my brothers and, you know, help us when my mom couldn't, you know, provide in hard times. So I think it's important. And I think it's important to spread love in times like this. There's just so much chaos politically, economically, even spiritually, just people being attacked for what they believe in or don't believe in. And I think the answer to all of it is just love, spreading positivity and love. You can't be mad at someone who just does things for you out of the goodness of their heart. Like how can you just take that and, oh, you're an evil person? You can't, you know, because it's love, it's straight positivity. So I think that I'm really excited for that, because I'm excited to see what we could do with it and turn it into something that's an annual thing, and just strive to give back.
Oh, I love that. And you're right. I mean, there's so much, like I even had to learn this year how to accept help and accept love, because for me, I always wanted to do it on my own. I didn't want, strings, or if you're going to do that for me, that meant I owed you, and I'm not comfortable with that. And so like I've really had to sort of humble myself and learn how to accept people being generous and giving. And that can be hard for people as well, especially if you're very proud and used to taking care of yourself. So I love that that's a mission for you. And I think you've got to like, if you could figure out how to get people to accept it as well, because not everybody can accept that kind of help or even admit they need it.
Yeah, I hate handouts. And for that same reason you said, I hate feeling like I owe somebody or they'll be able to throw something in my face one day. So I hate handouts. Like I'll like I don't take them, you know. And if I ask for help and you like say one thing, I never mind. I'll go figure it out. I'd rather struggle than ask for help sometimes, only because I know how some people operate. And they feel good by having to help others and be able to throw it back, you know, and it might not be right now, but it might be in 5 years. Hey, do you remember when I sent you that money when you and it's like, really? Like that was 5 years, you know? So,
Yeah.
but also again, I think it's more of an ego thing. Like, I think there's accepting help, but you got to be open to people. Like, I don't accept help or advice, or I don't take advice from people who are below where I want to be.
Mm.
Because you can be old and be a fool. Like you could be a wise fool. Like I always hear that, my grandparents especially, but they're like, you know, it's just older people. They're like, you should listen to him or him because he's done this and that, but it's not what I want to do. So his wisdom or what he didn't do in life doesn't really pertain to me because I'm on a different path. So I would rather learn from those who have experienced that path, aka people in Arete, who I can talk to, and they'll actually relate to me and give me solutions to problems, not just, hey, you're dumb, go back to college, you know, like you don't know what you're doing. I need solutions. So yeah, it's important. I think it's important to have that humility sometimes, and accept help. It's like I accept people's help in Arte because I know they want to help. They're not doing it for a gain or for recognition or whatever. They're actually doing it genuinely. So
Yeah, and there is a difference when there's genuineness, and then also realizing that sometimes it means just as much to them, just like it does to me, to be able to give. There's people who are like us who just want to help and who want to give. And so as much as it means to you to receive, it means that much to me to give. And so you got to kind of like look at it from that angle as well. Like this means a lot to them too. So I need to put my ego aside and just be like cool with it as well.
yeah, but I know I've plugged Arte in here quite a bit, but look, it's having a community of people who really care it's life changing, because you know you can say something in that Arte group chat and people are gonna want to help, you know, and it doesn't bring them anything. They're not making money from you. They're not trying to get a percentage of your company. They are just genuinely there to help. I was connected with, thanks to Aaron, a guy who sold his business for millions of dollars, like multi-millions. And like he called me and he stayed on the phone with me for an hour and a half and just talked me through my entire business plan, what he wants me to do. And then he sent me a book out of nowhere. He sent it on Easter. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna send you something." Right. Like he's just thinking about me genuinely. He doesn't have any stake in me or my company. He cares about my success genuinely to where he will help me get there no matter what. And that's what Arte brings you. That's what a family brings you. And that it's great. It's almost, it makes you speechless. Like it's just that great.
Yeah, well, and it's cool because it is both sides of the coins. It's being mentored by the best and then being able to help others with what you know. And it's a very sort of reciprocal like group, which is pretty sweet because you're right. Nobody's in there to take anything from anybody or take advantage of anybody because nobody wants to get kicked out of there or frowned upon. Like, not our reputation, but it
No,
means a
that's
lot to us.
exactly it.
It
Yeah,
kind of
you
is our
dickhead
reputation.
in Arte. I bet you won't be in Arte long.
True.
It's that impression and what you want. It's the core values. I think that's why core values are so important. Is
Yeah.
there's core values in Arte, and if you go against those core values, there's going to be hundreds of people in Arte who call you out on said thing. And
Yeah.
if you're not ready for that heat, I wouldn't go against those core values if I were you. So yeah, it is a reputation, and I think it's important to uphold because we are Arte. There isn't like, we're not just out here trying to do whatever or not make an impact. Like we're people on a mission. Like we have focus. So I feel like if you don't want to be a part of the mission of what Arte is, respectfully leave. No one cares. Like get out because we want people who want to better other people. So if you're not going to be that person, then sayonara, go find some other mastermind who, doesn't care about you and they just want your, $400 a month because that's not Arte. It's not for the money. It's for the impact. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important to hold that line, I think.
Love that. Do you impart that to your younger brothers? Do you try to give them this kind of wisdom so they grow up with it?
I do. They're very stubborn for their young age. I will not lie. And I think puberty, I don't know if I was that emotional when I went through puberty, but my mom says I was. I don't remember it, but it's something crazy. But my 13-year-old brother, he wants to own a business. He's a hustler. He'll go mow some grass. He'll take out the trash for neighbors and save up money. It might be $20 a month, but I think he has like $500 saved up, and
Wow.
at 13, I mean, that's impressive. He's
Yeah.
been working at it for a couple of years. So I instill a lot into him. My other brother, who's 15, he's the stubborn one. He is I try to tell him, like, read a book. Like, I'll pay you to read a book. Like, I want you to experience this life. But I recently got a new truck, and to kids, everything is just like so much bigger and so much cooler.
Yeah.
So I go home for Easter and they're like, "Dude, this is so nice." And I was like, "This is hard work. This isn't luck. This isn't like I got a handout. I'm 20 years old. I built my credit up by myself to do what I do. No co-signers." I was like, "This is what I want for you guys. Like, I want you guys to be able to go buy a Lambo when you turn 18 and do it by yourself." And I was like, that only comes through putting in the hard work. So I try to instill that in them, but you also have to walk that fine line because if you push people too hard that you love, they'll start to resent you. And I don't want to be that person in the people I care about, like my fiance, when she's like, you need to push me to go to the gym. And I was like, if I be that person in your life, you will hate me because I will hold you to your word. So if you say you're going to do something, there's no excuses in my mindset and in my head, there's no excuses for what you're talking about. So if you're going to say it, do it. And if you don't, then don't ask me to be that person for you. But if you be that person, it could come back and hurt you to the people you love. So I try to give them the little tidbits here and there, and I added them on my credit, and I'm starting to build that for them. But besides for that, I try not to push them too hard because they're already stubborn and emotional. So I don't know if it'll go over too well.
No, it's true. I mean, I get a lot of people, obviously within my program, but if people are pushed too hard, they will rebel against it 100%. Whatever it is that you're trying to push on them, they will do 100% the opposite. So you're really smart in like feeding them enough, but not forcing it.
Don't hound them. Yeah, you can't hound them. It's slowly but surely, and people love to see the end result. If you just talk about it and they don't see it, it doesn't motivate them. So I feel like that's also a thing about arte is that you have to back up what you talk about. So if you're not going to back it up, don't speak on it, because once again, you'll get called out. And when you see success, or you see someone recover, or you see another kid winning, like if there's a 17-year-old, actually there's a 17-year-old around me who started a lawn care business, and I want to help him out and make sure he has everything he needs just from everything I learned. And it's important to like be who you like. If you're going to talk the shop, you got to walk it. So yeah, it's important.
Would you say one of the things that helped mold you the most, and you kind of already touched on this, and I feel like it was the same for me, is almost wanting to do the exact opposite of how we were raised? Was that
Yeah,
like your big motivator?
that is very so. My mom, like, her credit was never too good. Like, we grew up not having an abundance of money or disposable income. So a lot of that is motivation to not want to be there. Yes. But I also believe, because I've seen it happen, is if you hate something so much, you'll become it. Like, you
Mm,
become so obsessed with what you hate that it actually drives you to that destination. I've just seen it with certain people and certain things. They'll say, I hate this about that person, but they say it so much that they start to do the same thing they're criticizing. So I
yeah.
think it's important to remember where you come from, but don't let it like overly motivate you, or like become so obsessive over it that you're like, I will never be broke. So you end up working 100 hours a week and you have no relationships in your life. Like, I think there's a key balance there. But it definitely is a motivator. My kids will never not want for anything, my family, my wife will be provided for. Like, I want to be able to buy my mom a house. Like, all of those things will be done, based off of it wasn't done for me. And I don't want to be there, and I don't want anyone in my family to be there. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and your kids will have their own crosses to bear because of it. So it's interesting. It's like
I'm
we
not
we
gonna
can we
be.
can only do our best, but they'll find their own things to
I
struggle with
told
for sure.
I told my fiance, these kids are not about to be these spoiled little brats. I'll tell you, like, I don't play any of that, because I come from it, and I know what all of my struggles gave me. They gave me the great gifts of perseverance,
Yeah.
and going through all of these things, and being able to withstand it, because it's not easy running a business, period. Do it when you're young and you got all these additional external pressures on you, and the internal pressure not to fail because you have a family to provide for. It's not easy. So you have to do it. So
Yeah. So now have you set a date? You said 2 years. You plan on getting married in 2 years?
July 5th, 2025.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I'm a big 4th of July guy. I love fireworks. I'm a pyromaniac. I had to look up the word because I'm so obsessed with setting things on fire. I was like, I wonder if there's a name for someone who
That is
does.
pyro. That is a
Yeah,
pyro.
it's pyromaniac.
Yeah.
And I am that. I set fireworks off. I love setting things. I'm see, like, my mom should have killed me when I was a kid, because it's just these little things. Like, don't actually do that, guys. If you're at home listening, don't.
Don't
But
just start setting stuff on fire.
right, but I would literally like take a lighter, and I'll just set some paper towels on fire and just let it burn, and then throw it in the sink. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have no clue. Like, I've almost got some pretty big things on fire. So yeah,
So,
don't do
that's
that.
why you're doing it in July. So there's fireworks.
Well, there's other things that made it line up, but that's one of the benefits is now every 4th of July, I get to have an excuse for a big party, and we can call it an anniversary party, but it's really my happiness of setting things on fire, and having a fireworks show. So it kind of works out.
Oh yeah. We fireworks like put on by the city aren't allowed here in Santa Cruz. However, everybody sneaks them down onto the beach. They bury them in the sand. We wait for the sun to go down, and then everybody's lighting them off on the beach. So there's thousands of people just like you
They're
locally
always
where we all just set I'm sorry, not we. They set all kinds of things on fire. M80s, like you
Almost
name
got
it, like
caught
those
right there,
giant
Angie.
ones. Like, yeah, it's so much fun. So yeah, absolutely. I
I feel like
totally
they're illegal. They were illegal in Ohio for a long time, and I've never not seen someone setting fireworks off. Like
yeah,
we
it's
do
almost
that in
like
the
the more
street,
they make it illegal, the more they're gonna do it. Like if they
right? They
just put
finally
on a
made it
show,
legal.
people wouldn't be doing it themselves. But since they won't, everyone's like, fine, I'm doing it.
Yeah, like all the fireworks stores around, they're like fireworks are now legal in Ohio. You've been selling them in Ohio for 10 years. Like we've been setting them off. They know what they're doing. Just because they're illegal, we're some criminals out here. So guess if you have to ask me if I'm a criminal, yes. And I will set some fireworks off on public property. I'll set it off in the street, the back. I don't care where it is. I love fireworks. So, it is what it is. Like I just love it.
Do you love the Katy Perry song Fireworks?
Um, I do not. That I mean, I like the song, but that would not be one of my first
That
songs.
wasn't the anthem that's going to be playing at your wedding?
No, but now that you say it, it'll be stuck in my head and I'll start singing it tonight, like when I'm going to bed. Like,
It's
oh,
so catchy. Baby,
no.
my fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
used to
get
have
it now.
locally like a little it was called the shortest parade in the world. And we would have a speaker and we would play all this, patriotic music. But for some reason we always played that Katy Perry song. Could not get it out of my head. It's so catchy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm bad. I do that with the national anthem.
Oh,
My fiance hates me.
what?
And
I love
it's,
it. I literally cry every time I see it on
I
TV. Like
literally
I
will
stop
just start.
everything and crank it up and I just sit and
See,
like
you
tear
say
up.
that, but like I'll just be in the bathroom taking a pee and I'll just start singing it. And she was like, Jayvon, like 3 rooms down. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, I just love the song. Like, so it gets annoying. I'm probably pretty annoying, but
Yeah. I love it. I mean, it's
I love, hey, look, I'm just trying to live my life, okay? Don't hate.
well, and I mean, let's be honest, our national anthem, like that's like our it's our anthem song. It's why we're
It's our
here,
fight
right? It's
song.
like so inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for soldiers and first responders and all those people. I think they deserve a lot more than we give them. Not just respect wise, like financially as well. There's so many people who sacrifice for us in the US and whatever. And they just don't get rewarded for it enough, like getting $40,000 as a soldier to go, to war in a different country for political reasons, just to come back with PTSD and have lost 5 best friends. Like that is so messed up. But make me president and we'll fix that, but only
Right?
got 13 years or whatever before I could qualify. So
Oh, dude. And you gotta have some powerful friends with a lot of money. Like that's a tough road right there, boy.
I joke about it sometimes, but then sometimes I'm really serious because I hate a lot of the things I hear in the news, and that's why I don't listen to it. But like the mass shootings, like those just hit home. Like I get more like pissed than I do sad because it's what we talked about, like spreading that love to other people. And like you just get these poor innocent people who just always end up in the wrath of someone else. And it's just so unfair. And I just think things need to be more disciplined, and we need to honor people who do good things in the world. Even the news and social media, like you'll see a cop beating somebody up or a kid getting bullied before you'll see someone paying for someone's homeless meal or a homeless person's meal. And then the comments are, oh, you're just recording it for views. Like at least you're doing it, like even if it was for views or not for views, at least you're still doing the good thing, because all those keyboard warriors, they're not doing that. So I don't know. I think things like that need to be rewarded more, but
I agree. Like if you watch the news, which I don't, but it's like, 55 minutes of doom and gloom and oh, here's our one little feel good story. Do you feel good
right.
now? And it's like, no, I don't feel good. You just barraged me with like 59 minutes of terribleness and you just
Like
showed me
my life is
and I'm
gonna
supposed to
end.
like forget all
Yeah.
that.
My life's gonna end, the economy's gonna crash, like my money's worthless. And then, oh, today, this kid picked up flowers for this elder. Like, it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, but I think that would help a lot. So 14 years, I'll be 35. I could qualify
Jayvon
if
for president.
there's any powerful friends out there who want to, support. But yeah, I gotta run. That's why I gotta build the big business, have all that personal money myself. But I
Well,
don't know.
absolutely. And that's why, I think it's also like, I don't want to get too deep into politics, but also like not having career politicians, more like having, a person of the people or a businessman or woman, as it may be, just somebody where they weren't groomed just to politically say all the right things. They like actually walk the walk and they lead from the front because they've shown to be successful in what they do.
I argued with my grandpa about this one time. It wasn't too long ago, but it was like his birthday weekend. And we started talking about politics. It's more entertaining because he's just an older guy, you can't
Yeah.
teach him the new tricks. So, but I'm like, how is it that they come in broke and they come out multi millionaires? And he was like, that's good business. That I would do that. And I'm like, no, you need people in there who actually come from the people and want to help the people and not their own pockets. So I think that's what we need, but we'll see. I can't do anything about it right now besides vote and strive to do what I do in life and business and keep inspiring and creating that impact with other people. So hopefully it'll change.
I love that. How much do you invest in your spiritual practice per day, just out of curiosity?
Not as much as I would like. My grandma, she's very religious and she'll text
Mm.
me scriptures all the time, and I read them and I'm like, wow, like that's perfect. I'm not I believe in God and I believe in a lot of things of Christian values. I just don't like I'm not like that religious person. Like I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't do Bible studies. I don't do any of that stuff. But if you start talking about God, I would offend his name, forever. It's like I believe in God, I believe in that higher power, and I believe in doing good and not judging. Like I live by a lot of the values that a lot of Christians would, who are religious and go to church. But I don't pray as much as I do. I pray um when I need to, which I think is bad, because you need to pray like when everything is good. Like it's not just when you need something from God. Like you should just always pray. But I also find myself praying for more other people in my life than I do for myself.
Yeah.
Um and when I was praying every day, it was like I felt lighter. You just feel lighter. You feel like you're just walking on a cloud. Everything's good. Not that I was putting all my trust in God, because I'm still backing up with the work. And I think that's what's important is you pray to God, you ask for the guidance or you ask for this, but you also go and back it up and you try to make that work yourself. And anytime I've asked God for help and I've went and put work in, the opportunities have came. So
Awesome.
I'm a firm believer.
Yeah. Well, and I think you probably practice gratitude. I know for myself, I do. Like if something's going really good, I'm like, thank
Uh-huh.
you. Like,
Thank you, God.
I give my little acknowledgement. I don't do the formal pray every day either, but I definitely besides when things are going rough and I really need like that
Mhm.
extra help over my shoulder. I know I do acknowledge when things are going right too sometimes. Well, a lot of
I
times.
love I love what Josh and Chris said at the Evolve event about there were the two sets of footprints, one
Yes.
being man, one being God. And through a point in the guy's life, there was only one set of footprints. And he said, where were you? And he was like, those were my footprints. Like I was carrying you through those times. And
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Once you start looking and you ask people what God has done for them, you'll hear so many amazing stories as to like it can't be a coincidence. Like there's so many things that add up in our lives to where it's like it had to have been like it had to have been wrote like by a higher power that this was going to happen for you, because it all lines up. It's crazy the power of God um and manifestation and all of those things come into it too. Like it's powerful. It truly amazes me when I hear stories. I always like tear up or I get all softy because it's so great. It's such a great power, and we need more of it.
Do you think that so it sounds to me, and I know this to be, you were put here for a specific purpose, and you're just sort of walking that walk. You've recognized what that purpose is, and that's why you're here.
Very much so. I think that's when I was depressed and I had anxiety and I wanted to kill myself, and I didn't know what I was living for. And once you start knowing what you're living for, you can start to enjoy everything around you. And you practice, like you get that gratitude for the opportunities. Like I'm grateful to have just been born, but I have a loving mother. I have four amazing brothers. Like you start, like I'm healthy. Like I've never really been sick. I have two arms, two legs, like two eyes. Like there's so many things to be grateful for that you wouldn't even consider like being grateful for. Like just the fact that you can afford to do this podcast or have an apartment, like there's so that the list goes on and on. And I really started appreciating a lot more in my life. And I started appreciating a lot more people in my life. And it's definitely a perspective change.
It is.
Once you
And they
start
say that's like the best cure for depression is gratitude. It's hard to be depressed when you can start looking around and seeing all the things that you're grateful for.
optimistic, like glass half full instead of half empty. It's just that I try every day to look at the brighter side of things, and I try not to let the bad things overcome me and make me like change my entire day. Like if one of the guys messes up a piece of equipment or a truck gets broke down, like I try not to let it ruin my day, because there's so much more and there's going to be a lot more headaches down the road. So you got to practice, and at least I have a truck that could break down, some people don't. So I practiced it a lot more, especially after 75 hard and going through everything I went through.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, do you have any parting wisdom or advice for our listeners that we haven't covered?
I don't know. We covered a lot,
I
between these
know.
two episodes. Like if
I
you're
know.
not walking away with some fire, some heat, I don't know. You got to go get that re-listening. But
Yeah.
I really think I don't know what I closed off with last time, but I just say this a lot. And I think it's still fitting. Like just never underestimate your abilities and who you can help and impact in your life. You're always able to help. You're always able to give. You're always able to love. It's the small things in life that add up and create that exponential factor of everything we talked about spreading love and positivity and how it can help the world. That happens when every person starts doing one small thing, holding the door open, saying, hey, you smell good. Hey, it doesn't matter what it is, but you do that enough and it starts spreading like wildfire. And then that person you said it to does it for another person because they're just that happy that someone else cared about them. So if you're going to do anything, every day, go outside and, practice gratitude. And then if you see someone and, you like something about them, just say, hey, I really love that you're a good mom, hey, I really love that dress you have on, and spread that little bit of positivity and love. And it'll come back to you, but it'll also change the culture and environment we're in today.
Ah, love it. Fire. You're the
Thank you.
best.
I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, same. So I will do my best not to make fun of you. No, I'm kidding. While you're golfing, that's why I chose
I'll
not
make
to
it
golf.
come golf. Don't play. Look, if you're gonna talk it, you gotta walk it. I will
I'm
hand you that
definitely
golf
not going to
club.
talk it. I'm going to
Yeah.
be too busy socializing. I was like, I don't want to get stuck behind a club. I'm going to be
Uh-huh.
socializing.
But yeah, thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see you on Friday.
I appreciate you.
You too.